Peter, you served as a police officer for how many years?
For about 9.5 years.
So you would have been exposed, I'm assuming, to images of child abuse, pedophilia, like many, many other police officers have.
Yes, I worked in the sex offender squad for a time, and I obviously saw a lot of graphic detail and took witness statements, and it's a pretty traumatic area to work in.
It's the kind of job, I'd imagine, that once you do it, you are forever changed. In fact, I had a woman on my show last year who did that for 30 years and still has not recovered, doesn't sleep at night, has nightmares. Is that something that you can relate to, that it's the kind of job that once you see that kind of thing, it changes you as a person?
I think that's undoubtable, and I think there are plenty of reports, and there's a lot of research that has gone toward this. And I think people who work, even for a short period of time, let alone for 30 years, in that area of investigation, I think they're heroes, to be honest. I think they have done a job, probably the toughest policing job that many others don't want to do. And it does impact you. It impacts you in terms of how you raise your own children, how you view people, and how suspicious you are of circumstances that people otherwise would just walk past. And I think that's the reality of being exposed to that worst element of society.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I see a headline about a child and I feel sick. So my point is to dedicate so much of your life to doing what most of us could not do, to keep us and our kids safe, to go through hell essentially, which is what all police in that field do day in, day out, to then be accused of protecting the people that perpetrate those atrocities on those children. In those images you have to see, those children you interview to take witness statements from, how much does that hurt you, and not just you, other police officers doing the same thing?
Well, it's funny you ask that question, Erin, because I have had a lot of police officers, those that I worked with and those that I've never met, who were just appalled by the comments. I'm happy to give as good as I get in politics, and I believe, though, that this was just beyond the pale, and it was pathetic, really. And the fact that the Prime Minister didn't have the guts to back the words up or to condemn them demonstrates how weak he is as a leader. I think they were trying to provoke a response from me. They were trying to slur me, and they were obviously worried about the polls. They're worried that Anthony Albanese has performed so poorly, the government's going backwards in the polls. They try and besmirch me, and they think if they throw enough mud, some of it will stick. But it's just not credible. It's the area I think that I'm most passionate about in public life. I've spoken about it endless times as a Member of Parliament. I've worked on a number of cases, including reform of the double jeopardy laws, which was relating back to a case when I was a police officer, and I took a petition up in my first term in Parliament in 2001 for Deirdre Kennedy following her murder and the travesty that had happened in that case. I set up the Australian Centre to Counter Child Exploitation, which has literally saved thousands of kids from being sexually abused, gave the Australian Federal Police extra powers, which were ironically opposed by Labor at the time. And what the government was trying to say here was that we didn't want to support this bill and therefore you're protecting pedophiles. But when you just scratch a bit beneath the surface, what we were actually saying was that the laws were inadequate and we wanted them to be stronger and make them stronger, and we vote for them. So it wasn't that we wanted to go soft on it, but that's not what they conveyed, and it was a nasty piece, and it was designed to hurt, and it does. But in the end, it makes me more determined to make sure that we win in 2025, because I just think this is a bad government getting worse, and I want to be a Prime Minister that stands up for those families, for those victims, and there is no way in the world under a government that I led that those 150 hardcore criminals would be out in the community right now.
Peter Dutton, well said. Thank you so much. I'm well aware of the work that you've done to protect children, not through you, but through others who have told me. And I've also had plenty of police officers reach out to me this week, disgusted by it. I had some cute Christmas stuff to end on, but doesn't feel right. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Erin. Have a great Christmas, and to you, all your listeners, thank you.
Thank you so much.